Yeah, buddy. And the Chevy 2 about covered the front end. Well. Chuck Stefanski coming up now on the left-hand side. You cannot forget this thing once you see it. Stefanski's car, he's got those headers that run right out in front of the front fenders above the tires. And Dustin Trance, this is one of the all-time Zen voodoo masters of the 850 Index class, of course, known as Street Race Small Block Power Adder. Trance is the guy who was just a swami at this last year, making repeated runs to make sure he was as close to 850 with a 0 as possible. We'll see what he can lay up here right now in this 05 Mustang. Same car that he's run for a couple of years. And Stefanski's on a nice strong pull over there. He's running the modified Power Adder category, goes 730 at 191, and Trance is a mile and a half off. He's 860 with a 7 at 158. They got work to do.
A tenth being a mile and a half.
Yes.
Wild.
They will be back for more. We can promise you that. Next up, Mike Finnegan. Rolling up here on the left-hand side of the drag strip. It is the Blasphemy 1955 Chevrolet that has gone through a raft of updates. A new front end, a new nose on the car, and a slipper clutch has been put in there. He got rid of the diaphragm-style clutch that was in it, and he has had some very good results in testing with that new clutch.
And he has a T56 back in it. It's a Tick Performance unit. He was running a clutchless 4-speed prior to this.
And Nick Deleno right side. Deleno running that late model Challenger, and Finnegan on and off the throttle over there in the left. Very strange over there on and off the throttle a multitude of times on the Summit side of the racetrack. Goes 960 at 108 miles an hour. That was kind of odd. Street Race Small Block Naturally Aspirated Nova of Brian Hansen. I think sounded nice in the burnout. Very sing-songy, as one would expect a high-winding, high-revving small block would be. Mole's category is Super Street Big Block Power Adder. He's gone 944 to 142, but it was a handful of a ride earlier. We'll see what Mole can do here. And Mike Finnegan stuffs the car in a low gear and brings it around to the water box. All looks pretty good here through the 8th mile. And across the finish line they go, a 942.3 at 141. Mole's car slows by about a tenth, goes 954.5. So Finnegan's first run was kind of all over the place. The car was moving around. He was on and off the throttle.
Well, you got to test that new throttle body.
It works. The linkage moves freely from the open to closed position multiple times. A-body over there at Billy Gebhardt, 76 Duster.
You can see AA Tony Angelo out there from Stay Tuned on YouTube.
He's a Pennsylvania guy, so I guess we have to give him he's Tim Richards, the general.
Oh, Finnegan. That looked a little spooky, but he pulled it back together.
Man, pulling hard. Goes 870 at 157 miles an hour for Mike Finnegan. Billy Gebhardt goes 969.0 at 144. And you're right, I wasn't quite sure how it was going to play out after the first gear change, but it really cleaned up nice.
That car has been 852 in past drag weeks. And I think that puts him at the top of that class. What did the Nova run earlier?
9-something. Baker's Nova.
So that's a pack it up and leave.
That is Evan Erkowitz, the 1979 Malibu. That car went 786 at 177 yesterday. Erkowitz is currently running third, chasing Glenn Hunter and Alan Whitaker in the Pro Street Power Adder category. Everybody's chasing Whitaker. He's a class leader, having run 713 at a $1.99 yesterday. Hunter's behind him at a 733, and Erkowitz is hiding in the shadows, having run 786. On the right-hand side, it's Neil Torbett, the 1965 Ford F100 truck. Torbett yesterday handed in a 9:42 time slip. There goes Urkowitz. The car settled down on those big rear slicks. 141 in the 8th mile, 791 at 176 miles an hour, and a 940 at 149. Norbit picks up 200ths off of Monday. Urkowitz slows down by a couple of hundredths off of Monday. And we have a racer in need. Doug Kistler, the 1972 Black Nova. We need an Automotive Pro Series fuel pump, part number 11102. Doug Kistler has a 1972 Nova in black. He is looking for an Automotive Pro Series fuel pump. 11102 is the part number. Here comes Clark Rosenstengel. Boy, this car is a sledgehammer. Running in the modified power adder category, Rosenstengel is leading the field by nearly 0.3 of a second, having run 7:07 at 2:05.16 yesterday. Jason Willis in the Corvette on the right side. Willis finds himself in the Street Race Small Block NA category. Rosenstengel, oh boy, yeah, they fed the power to it about 100 feet. It blew the tires off. Willis is going to go rolling on by 106 in the 8th. And Willis goes 997.5 at 132.69 for Clark Rosenstengel. A lot of power, and he went to pour it all to it. Hey, now we're talking. These are two class combatants going to run off each other side by side here. Finnegan, and the only guy that's within spitting distance of him on the racetrack now.
Wayne Baker having run 8:79 earlier today. Finnegan having run 8:70.
And far be it from me to spill the tea a little bit around here, but Wayne Baker is not a big fan of the new front suspension Mike Finnegan has on the front of this car.
You don't say.
In fact, Baker had raised the issue of protesting Finnegan's car of being illegal for the class. So these two guys are running for the same trophy, and they're also now on the same racetrack simultaneously. It's a good little moment here. For Finnegan, he has updated this car with an independent front suspension. He got rid of the beam axle. Yeah, buddy.
Oh
man.
There.
Wow, puts that thing on the trailer hitch. Wayne Baker, meanwhile, is roaring down the summit side to go 879 at 154 miles an hour. What we just saw for incredible timing there for Finnegan is when that car landed, it absorbed that landing way better than a beam axle and a pair of leaf springs would have.
Yeah, he didn't do the triple bounce. Hopefully it's in good shape. It is a fabricated IFS on that thing, even with the nose-high stance. It's interesting. He knew that it was questionable for the class, and he got pre-approval from Keith Turk. So Wayne Baker can basically protest all he wants, and that's a nice story.
Cole Poncelet right side, and this is a big run for Steve Spieth.
Nope.
Same thing it's done the last couple of runs. Every time he gets the thing up on the two-step, it just shuts itself off. Cole Poncelet, the Gun Lake Casino Lane, 1290 at 103 miles an hour. He does have it refired. They're going to let Poncelet get off the top end.
Yeah, Blood on the Highway, Red Asphalt. They were all those Scared Straight kind of movies. Shake Hands with Danger.
But he said he watched it in class yesterday.
Oh, look at
wow. Drove through some early tire shake, and Steve Spieth goes down a 7 flat at 198 miles an hour. It is not the glory number they wanted, but it's the number they got, and it may keep their hopes alive big time here.
Very well could if they can make it to the next track. This is going to be super interesting tonight to find out who makes it, who doesn't. We know that Goldstone is in the pits, probably putting a piston in it, definitely welding ahead. And we know Alex Taylor was looking pretty good. I still see them there converting the thing to street mode to try and get out of here.
I wonder if Steve tries to make one more. I don't know. But the thing, I'll tell you this. People wonder, like, what's experience worth in drag racing? Steve Spieth has made enough runs in enough different cars. He knew he could drive through the tire shake. He was experienced there. A lot of guys would have lifted. He powered through it, and it did clean up. Bill Schwartz trying to run 850, and he had to pedal the car the first 60 feet, so that's not looking too good for him here. Schwartz goes an 868, 171. He'll be back in line. Dave Gallimore goes a 1082 at 130. Clark Rosenstengel coming through the water here momentarily. Going to put those rear tires back in the puddle. Car's kind of lazy to build boost there. Did not get the tire turned off. He got him dried off anyway. They at least squeaked enough. And there's enough temperature in the racetrack that it should still work okay if he can get the car to spool up like he needs to in the starting line. It'd be Kyle Buntley next to him. Mike Finnegan getting ready to make the turn here at the top of the staging lanes. Clark's got it boosted now. You can hear that thing whooshing down there. Wow, nice job. Drove out, hovered the front end, 8th mile speed of 159, and he goes 7:32.9 at 204.45 miles an hour for Clark Rosenstengel. Buntley's car has trouble. He is still coasting past the 1,000-foot mark, and he finishes the run 19:23 at 54. This is Greg Sorensen in the Signet, right side. Chevrolet Silverado on the left. The truck runs down at 1085, and the Valiant Signet goes 1161.6, 123. And the saga of Mike Finnegan moves on to day number 3 officially here as Blasphemy makes its way up toward the starting line. This 1955 Chevy, stick shifted, had a huge wheelie yesterday in Indy, landed hard. They went to Johnny Lindbergh's shop, clearly worked on the front end for a couple of hours, and they barely got here today. You're running next to Andy Tagg with the gate down in the pickup truck.
On and off, over to the right-hand side. Just that front wheel's looking a little bit funky. Cuts a 134 60-foot 570 to the 8th 887. So he's making good runs again. That's a little bit slower than what he was looking for. He went 870 on day 1. He needs to run in the 830s to get around Wayne Baker today.
Yeah. Acton going to try to run exactly 850. Acton leads, wheels up. Nice launch here at the 8th mile. He's going 542. He is way too quick for his own good. Goes 849 with an 8. He scrubbed a bunch of speed. 849, 159. He was 2 thou too quick. Jeff Mole goes 928.7 at 144. Just 2 thou too quick. Acton went through with a 542 in the 8th, which is typically meaning you're going to run somewhere in the 840 range at that, or 830s even.
That is Bob Perry on the right-hand side in the Chevy truck. This thing has gone 970, 959, and 959.
And Corey Pant coming up. This will be Pant's second run of the morning. He was among the early takers of the drag strip before the fog rolled up. Is continuing to dissipate. Pan had the better light, but Perry's got the quicker truck. 113 in the 8th. The square body Chevrolet goes through a 964 at 138 to Pant's 993.6.
Oh, that's right on pace for Pant. He's trying to hold on to his number 3 position in all motor small block, and it is a tight race between him and Joe Ocone.
So the multicolored 67 Camaro rolls up on the varsity side of the drag strip, Stuart Barta. And on the opposite side, it is Mike Mayone, who has had a week of work with him and his boy here, working on this car, sliding transmissions in and out of it, but they're battling through the whole thing. They are trying to run 850.
And Barta on the left is second in modified power adder. This should be an 8-second car.
Mayo's not in yet. Now he goes in. Mayon's looking pretty healthy out here. Goes a 5:55, a little behind the pace for an 8:50 run. Goes an 8:54 and 163, not too shabby. Barta goes 8:82, 158.49. Cody Helger coming out, the Helger Brothers Speed Shop, 55 Chevrolet out of Rhode Island. These guys have had some primo cars over the years, including owning and actually running Ohio George Montgomery's 1971 Mach 1 bodied funny car with a blown camera in it. They would actually come up to Epping with it and make runs in the car with the OG camera motor in it.
And right now he's winning the gas. I think he pedaled a little bit when he got sideways right there. He's going to go down to the 8th mile at 6:19 and the quarter mile 9:67 at 140 miles an hour. On the right-hand side, 9:52 at 139.7.
That is a killer run, and Cody's driven funny cars and all kinds of stuff, so he is no stranger to getting hairy out there, and that was the biggest wheel stand we've seen that car pull.
Yeah, and he's slowed down as a result. That's been a 9:49, 9:55 car, and he lost a tenth off that.
All that shine, all that traction compound, the rotation and drag has left us with a world-class starting line here at Milan Dragway. And Cuttle going to go into the fog at full throttle at 9:52.7, 139. The vet of Jason Willis goes 10:65. We can actually see the cars getting to the end of the racetrack now from here, which is a nice change of pace. Jeff Oppenheim, Steve Brack. So Steve Brack fully staged. Oppenheim now pumps his turbocharged in, less power. And Brack is going to scoot down to the stripe first. He goes at 8:49.5, just missed it by 5 thousandths, 160 mile an hour, as Jeff Oppenheim goes 8:87.5 at 154.
And here comes Bryant Goldstone, the moment we've all been waiting for. Question is, can he get his number back? Can he run another 650? If he does, he will likely hold the top position at Drag Week. This cannot be verified by me from the announcers group. It'll have to go to the final answer of Hot Rod at the very end of the day.
And to be clear, David, this is 650 with an anything.
It's probably slower than that. I have not done the math at this point. I don't know what he takes to average up. I think if he runs the 650 that he has been running, that he's solid. But that's once again why I say winners announced from the announcers group are not an official word.
Exactly.
The math has to be done. People have to be consulted, have to make sure that it's, an allowable run, all those things that are beyond the purview of the person behind the microphone. People think I'm still responsible for calling all the shots at this. And my answer to that recently has been, did you know that I haven't been the editor of Hot Rod for 10 years? And I have not been in the hands-on working of Drag Week for that long. Of course I know all these guys and talk to them and consult and have strong opinions and such things, but with no clout. Here comes Bryant Goldstone.
Such high esteem, though, I'm sure. This is where the movie version of this goes to slow-mo with that music, that dramatic music.
He's getting down clean so far. He goes to the 8th mile, 4:33 and 6:59 at 216 miles an hour. He pulls it off after having the engine out of the car, the cylinder head off the engine, welding up the cylinder head, having the transmission changed today, having survived 890 miles. There you go. Bryant Goldstone, 6:59. 6:59 with a 0 at 216.03 miles an hour.